Okay, intermediate accounting. This is video number 2 for chapter 18. We're going to talk about share issuance, specifically shares issued for cash and how we record those. This starts on page 1046 on the bottom, and we'll go through about 1047, 1048, and then we'll do an exercise. Now, these exercises are not the same exercises that are in your book, unfortunately. But the good news is you can pause this video, work an exercise, and then see what the answer is and go through it to see if you're getting your answers right or not. So that's kind of the plan. So for now, I'm just going to go through the book and talk about how we record shares issued for cash. I'll do my best to mention, what illustration I'm looking at or what areas I'm looking at to try and help you keep up if you have your book open, and then we'll go through an exercise on it. So shares issued for cash from bottom 1046. When stock is sold for cash, it's relatively straightforward how we record it. And effectively what we're going to do is we're going to record obviously the cash amount that I actually receive, whatever that dollar amount is, that's my debit to cash. And then to common stock itself, remember the three major elements of my equity section are common stock, paid-in capital, and retained earnings. So we have a common stock or preferred stock. I mean, in this case, we're talking about common stock. The common stock is simply going to be credited for the number of shares times the par value. So par value could be $1, could be a penny, could be 4/10 of a penny, could be a lot of different things. But the par value is what is all that goes into our common stock. Everything else, if there's any difference, goes into paid-in capital. And really, actually, the way they say it, which makes it easier to remember, is paid-in capital in excess of par. So, for example, it says, I'm on page 1047, illustration 18-5. It says Dow Industrial sells 100,000 of its common shares, $1 par per share for $10 per share. So to get the cash amount, I need to take the 100,000 shares times $10. So obviously they're doing this in thousands. That's why you're only seeing 1,000 there rather than what would it be, a million, I guess. But they're taking the number of shares times the price per share, and that's my debit to cash. It always is, whatever I received. To find how much I credit common stock for, it's the number of shares times the par value. Again, these numbers will change with different problems, but it's always the number of shares times the par value to find what this number should be. In this case, that's $100,000 or 100,000 shares, excuse me, times the $1 par value. And then we have paid-in capital in excess of par for the difference. Again, that number is whatever the difference is. Technically speaking, you could also always find that number by taking the price it's sold for per share minus the par. The difference times the number of shares sold will also get you that same number. So either way, whichever way you prefer works. So I want to look at an exercise. I want to look at, in this case, it's called exercise 18-9. So you'll want to pause the video here. I'm not going to pause too long, but you can push pause here, read this, work this problem in Excel or on your, on paper, however you want to do it. And then we'll look at what the appropriate journal entries will be. I'm not going to take the time to read it to you, as you can read it yourself. So pause now if you want to work on it first on your own. Okay, so what we need to do here is we need to journalize these transactions. So we have two different ones. We have Texas Coal and we have Faber Solutions. Texas Coal is selling 7.6 million shares at 0.004 par. Price is 15.563 each. So effectively what I should do, and I'll look at the answer here in just a second, is take my number of shares times the price to get my debit to cash. I should take the number of shares times the par value to get my credit to common stock. And then the difference, like I said, two ways to do this. We can either take that minus this, or just the remainder of whatever it takes to balance is going to go to paid-in capital in excess of par. Same thing here. 8 million times 0.02 is going to be my credit to common stock. I know I did that order, sorry. 8 million times 1590 is my cash. 8 million times 0.02 is my common stock. And then the difference between those two numbers is my paid-in capital in excess of par. So there we go. 7.6 times the 13.563, like I said. 7.6 million times the 0.004 per share to get my credit to common stock. It's always a par value. And then paid-in capital in excess is the difference between the two. And Faber Solutions, similarly, 8 million times the 1590, 8 million times the 0.02, and paid-in capital in excess is the difference. Or like I said, you could take 1590 minus 0.02, which in this case would be 1588 times 8 million would get you the same number. Okay, that's a short one, but I'm going to try and make my videos a little shorter. So I'm going to stop there for now, and we'll continue with the next part chapter in the next video.